Level 1. The Lookout. At 2:17 a.m., you stand outside the warehouse by the iron gate. The burner phone in your hand lights up 3 times. No name, just a single number, 7. The men inside are waiting for you to say one sentence. A white pickup truck has been sitting at the end of the block for 4 minutes. The engine is still running. The headlights are still on. You know that is not normal. You also know that if you call this wrong, 6 men inside that warehouse are not making it out tonight. You keep your eyes on the truck. Your throat tightens. Your palms are wet. The phone buzzes again. Finally, you speak. Not one of ours. Everything behind the gate goes quiet. 10 seconds later, tires scream from the far end of the alley. The white pickup throws itself into reverse, clips a trash can, and tears back onto the main road. For the first time, you hear the men inside clap for you. Not out of praise, out of confirmation. In a place like this, saying one sentence at the right time matters more than getting 10 years of your life right anywhere else. That is your first lesson inside the organization. You are not a shooter, not a boss, not an accountant. You are just a pair of eyes. You stand outside convenience stores, sit across from auto shops, crouch on rooftops smoking cheap cigarettes. You watch every car that should not be there. You get $400 a week in cash, stuffed into a brown paper envelope with no bank seal on it, no name, no taxes, no account. What they are really paying you with is not money. It is the right to keep being useful. The rules at this level are simple. Say what you see. Do not guess about what you do not. If the phone rings 3 times, you answer. If someone asks what the product is, you say you do not know. The truth is, you really do not. Some call it white, some call it bricks, some just call it the shipment. The shorter the word, the longer the life. You start memorizing the last 4 digits of license plates. You learn the difference between the engine noise of a patrol car and a civilian one. You learn how to tell the difference between someone who came to buy survival and someone who came to deliver death. You also learn another rule. There are no innocent bystanders here. If you are standing at the door, you are part of the door. Whatever happens behind it already belongs to you too. You start to understand that this system does not change you through persuasion. It changes you through repetition. 3 weeks later, the man who brought you in tosses you a set of keys. There's a strip of blue tape on the ring with the letter G written on it. Tomorrow night you drive. You do not ask what you are delivering. You do not ask where it is going. Level 2, the driver. At 9:40 p.m., you drive a gray Nissan across the South Side overpass. There is a cooler in the trunk. Under the passenger seat is an unloaded pistol. You know the gun is not there to make you feel brave. It is there to remind you that if things go bad, the only thing that may still belong to you is how you die. Driving pays more than lookout work. It is also dirtier. You get $1,200 a run, plus gas money and a fresh burner phone. The route is sent to you with a 15-minute viewing window, and it deletes itself as soon as you hit the first checkpoint. You do not touch the product. You do not count the packages. You do not open anything. You confirm only 3 things: the plate number, the password, and the handoff time. The rules have changed. As a lookout, your value was what you noticed. Now your value is being on time. 1 minute late and the people under you get nervous. 1 minute early and the people above you get suspicious. You begin to understand that the real currency inside this sealed system is not just cash. It is timing. Everyone is trapped by it. Nothing moves into East River before 1:30 a.m. Nobody takes the school route on Wednesdays. Weekend checkpoints double, but the people taking bribes get more desperate too. The first time you really see the skeleton of the system is in the back lot of an auto repair shop. Outside, there are dead vans and stripped shells. Inside, behind a steel door with cameras mounted over it, there are 3 money counters, 2 handwritten ledgers, and an old paper shredder. A man who looks like an accountant sits in a plastic chair wearing gold-rimmed glasses. He does not even look at you. He just tells you to put the cooler on the digital scale. If the number matches, he nods. If it does not, you disappear that night. You start learning not to see people as people, only as nodes. The receiver is a node. The lookout is a node. The driver clearing the route is a node. Even the kid handing you a bottle of water is a node. The organization does not care who is hungry, who is scared, or whose mother is in the hospital. It only cares that the chain does not break. You hide your first delivery money behind the old washing machine in your mother's house and tell yourself it is temporary. A few more months, then you are done. Save a little more, then you leave. But the next day, you go out again. Not because the money is not enough, because you realize you're starting to like the feeling. You drive through the city, and nobody on the road knows what is in your trunk. But everyone's night could change because of you. For the first time, you taste the arrogance that comes with a secret. That is more dangerous than money. A month later, someone stops paying. The man handling your handoff slaps a list down on the table. At the top is an address, under it a time and an amount. You make the trip. Bring back the money. If you cannot bring back the money, bring back the message. Level 3, the collector. At 4:12 in the afternoon, you stand outside a tire shop. The front flap is half open. Inside, you hear a fan and a television. The paper makes it clear. $37,000 owed, 9 days overdue. The rules are just as clear. First time you talk. Second time you break things. Third time you bury someone. When you walk in, the man is handing his son a soda. The kid looks 8, maybe 9, still in his school uniform. For 1 second, you want to turn around, but the SUV idling behind you reminds you this stopped being just your decision a long time ago. You sit down. You do not touch the drink on the table. You flatten the sheet in front of him and read out the amount, the deadline, and the consequence. Your voice comes out steadier than you expected. The man smiles first. Then he goes quiet. Then he starts begging. You notice how similar all begging sounds. Sick parents, tight times. Next month for sure. We are all friends here. That is when you understand something for the first time. Collections are not about yelling. They are about making sure the other person understands you did not come to negotiate. You leave with the key to the safe on the wall, $7,800 from the register, and a promise that every dollar his tire shop makes next week belongs to you first. On the drive back, the man sitting beside you says you handled it well. No panic, no violence, no noise bigger than necessary. You start learning to calculate a different kind of debt. Who is actually broke and who is stalling? Who has protection behind him and who has already been abandoned? You learn to read shoes, watches, imported beer in the fridge. You learn to hear whether someone still has confidence in his own voice. You also learn how fear works in installments. First, you make him stop sleeping, then you make him stop leaving the house. Then you make him understand that delay itself costs more than the money. Your pay quadruples at this level. $15,000 a month plus a motorcycle with fake plates. You stop checking price tags. Start taking private rooms at restaurants. Start acting like waiting in line is for other people. Your mother asks what you have been doing lately. You tell her security. Your friends ask why you keep changing phones. You tell them business. Every lie makes your heart a little harder. The third time you go collect from someone, he reaches for a gun. You're faster by half a second. The shot explodes inside the little storage room. Metal shelves rattle. When you see him hit the floor, your first thought is not disgust, not fear. It is whether there is any other threat nearby. When you get back, nobody asks how you feel. They ask one question. You pick up the brass? You say yes. They nod. Level 4. The one who leads the crew. You start leading people. 2 lookouts, 1 driver, 1 gunman so young it makes you uncomfortable. You're no longer standing at the front, and you're no longer standing in the back. You stand in the middle, making sure everybody moves according to the rules. The title at this level sounds small, but the power is real. Some people call you crew chief. Some call you the one in charge. There's nothing official on paper, but 1 phone call from you can shut down 3 blocks at the same time. You control a small zone of the organization's enforcement work: collections, pickups, transport security, betrayal cleanup. $20,000 a week, plus bonuses when things get ugly. You do not have to touch every dirty task yourself anymore. That is the real change. You start using other people to do the things you used to do with your own hands. The rules get deeper too. Not everybody who screws up gets punished right away. It depends on who is standing behind him. Not everybody who stays loyal gets promoted. It depends on whether he has a brain. The most valuable trait here is not brutality. It is steadiness. Brutal men are everywhere. Steady men are the only ones who make it upstairs into the office with the bulletproof glass. You start sitting in internal meetings. There are no file names on the table, only color tabs. Red means high-risk customers. Blue means people who need to be bought. Black means people who should not still be alive. For the first time, you see what the system's real muscle is. Not guns, not product, leverage. Whose wife is getting prenatal care at which hospital, whose younger brother works at the border office, who always shows up at the same card game on Thursday nights. Dirt is cheaper than bullets and often more effective. You learn another kind of control too, making other people wait for your decision. The young gunman asks if he should move now. You tell him to wait for your call. He waits 6 hours. In those 6 hours, the target calls his wife, smokes 2 packs, considers running, considers begging. You know that. You want him to know that you know. You no longer lose sleep over 1 man dying. What bothers you now is a weak plan. You tell yourself that is maturity, control, efficiency. After an internal cleanup, one of the men above you asks you to stay behind. The room empties. There's an untouched cup of coffee on the table and a city map spread open between you. He taps 1 finger on the west side. You run this square now. Level 5. The one who runs territory. From this level on, people are not just afraid of your gun. They are afraid of your nod. They are afraid of your silence. You are no longer running 1 block. You are running a square. 4 neighborhoods. 2 nightclubs, 3 repair shops, 1 abandoned warehouse district, and 7 fixed cash collection points. Every morning at 7:30, you wake up and read the overnight numbers. Who sold what? Who got arrested? Who disappeared? Which family needs a survivor payment? The money changes shape here. It is no longer handed to you in single bags. It becomes a share. On Friday nights, you bring in somewhere between $40,000 and $60,000, vacuum sealed in triple bags and delivered in batches by different people. You have a driver, a lawyer, 2 identities, an apartment not even registered under your real name, and more eyes are on you now. Police, rivals, your own people. Because every piece of territory means the possibility of something higher. The rule at this level is balance. Product has to move, but too much blood cannot hit the pavement. Too many bodies and federal attention lands on you. Too few, and the people under you start thinking you are soft. You begin managing fear the way other men manage a business. If a store is late by one day, you smash windows. If someone skims money, you make him kneel in front of everyone for 2 hours. Punishment is never just punishment. It is theater. You start sending money to the families of dead members. Not out of kindness, out of structure. If an enforcer knows his mother will still get $1,000 a month after he's gone, if his kids' school fees will be handled, he will carry more for you before he breaks. Loyalty is never just emotion. Loyalty is engineered. You lose your freedom for real at this level. You stop driving yourself. Stop changing routes on impulse. Stop eating at the same restaurant twice. The room you sleep in has 2 doors. The nightstand has 2 phones. One that never shuts off and one that never turns on. You start distrusting every new face, every unexpected smile, every night that feels quieter than it should. The higher you get, the smaller your life becomes. Someone turns in one of your lower captains for skimming. The evidence lands on your desk, photos, transfer codes, and the daily schedule showing when his kid gets out of school. You stare at that schedule, then you sign. The next day, the captain disappears. The day after that, the books are clean again. The day after that, everyone listens better. On the 5th week, the boss asks to see you in person. Enforcement is not enough for you anymore, he says. You start handling the inside now. Level 6. The one who cleans the inside. This level has no public title. Nobody likes saying it out loud. You stop doing outside work. You start doing internal work. You look for leaks, theft, side deals, people preparing to jump ship, people planning to sell your network to somebody else. The tools in your hands are no longer just guns and men. Now you have recordings, chat logs, camera screenshots, payment records, family names. For the first time, you hold something close to unlimited power, the power to define the problem. If you say a man is compromised, then he is compromised. If you say the evidence is enough, then that is where the discussion ends. You do not need everyone to believe you. You only need everyone to know that disagreeing with you is expensive. You start meeting more people who do not look like criminals, customs brokers, lawyers, police aides, hospital administrators, port schedulers. They wear pressed shirts, speak politely, collect clean salaries, and live better lives because of your money. At last, you see the real shape of the closed ecosystem. The gunmen are only the outer shell. The people who keep the empire standing are the ones willing to look away. You can ruin someone in a day. You can save someone in a day, and you begin to enjoy that kind of control, the kind that does not require gunfire. One phone call, one nod, one folder passed upward. That is enough to decide who goes home, who gets taken, and who is still sitting at the conference table tomorrow morning. You start becoming something closer to a judge. Sleep gets harder. Not because of guilt. Because the lists get longer. You know, every name is tied to somebody else's wife, child, parent, debt, and secret. When you sign off on a name, it is not just one man disappearing. It is an entire chain getting ripped out. You tell yourself it is necessary. You tell yourself the machine needs stability if it is going to keep moving. After a failed handoff, the men above you call you to a villa at the end of a mountain road. 3 rings of bodyguards outside. Inside, the house is as quiet as a church. The boss does not ask what happened. He asks only for the result. You say, "It's handled." He studies you for a few seconds, then slides a ring across the table. It is not a gift. It is a marker. From today on, the northern line is yours. You are no longer just cleaning the inside. You are deciding who gets to stay alive on the map. Level 7, Regional Boss. When you stand in front of the map now, the city looks like a carcass cut open. Highway entrances, warehouse belts, the port, nightclubs, border roads, police housing blocks, all marked in different colors. You have reached a position most men never even glimpse. At this level, action decreases, cost increases. You do not go collect in person anymore. You do not escort shipments yourself. You do not deal with overdue money face to face. You handle quotas, splits, contacts, ceasefires, retaliation, and examples. More than $8 million in cash moves through your hands every month, but only a fraction of it is ever really yours. The higher you rise, the less money belongs to you. You're managing the flow for something bigger than yourself. You start having dinner with political aides, drinking with the chauffeurs of businessmen, swapping information with the almost retired man inside the police department. You do not need their loyalty. You just need them to be late on certain mornings. You just need them to miss one page in a file. You gain more and lose the last illusion that you can still go back. You live in a house with a lake view now, bulletproof glass, 2 guard posts at the gate. The fridge is always full. The liquor cabinet is always lit, but you almost never get drunk. Drunk is a luxury for low-level men. High-level men have to stay clear-headed enough to watch your own people test each other, clear-headed enough to watch the boss grow old while the younger generation grows impatient. People begin speaking about you like you are something supernatural. Nobody on the street says your name out loud. Some say you never miss. Some say you never sleep. Some say you can black out a district or bankrupt a man with one call. When you hear those stories, you do not feel pride, because you know what the other side of myth is. You have to become less and less human to keep the myth alive. Then the boss has a stroke. Everyone waits to see who moves first. You do not. You keep every route operating, every paycheck on time, every collection arriving. You prove that no visible change is the biggest change of all. 3 months later, nobody talks about the boss anymore. They wait only for your call. Level 8. The one at the top. There's no applause at the top. At 4 a.m., you sit at the end of a long table. In front of you, a cup of black coffee and 7 phones built for different countries. Rain taps lightly against the roof outside. You have not touched a gun in a long time. You have become the rumor itself. When the port opens, which route closes, who rises, who disappears, which family stays, which last name gets erased from the map forever. All of it starts with your nod. You say keep going and hundreds of people eat. You say stop here, and a decade of relationships in one district collapses overnight. The mythic part does not come from people kneeling to you. It comes from finally seeing what power really looks like. It is not a mountain peak. It is a pump that can never stop. You sit here not because you are free, but because you are the least free man in the room. You cannot get sick, cannot go soft, cannot hesitate, cannot trust love, cannot even trust memory. Missing an old name has to be scheduled. You start thinking more often about that night a long time ago. The warehouse, the iron gate, the white pickup with the engine still running. Back then you thought the worst thing was pulling the trigger. Now you know the worst thing is habit. Habit teaches you to convert every life into stability, every relationship into leverage, yourself into another part of the machine. You own the most lavish estate in the city with the thickest walls, the deepest cash reserves, and the most complete intelligence network. But you are not as free as the old man selling corn on the street. He can pack up when he wants. He can go see his grandson whenever he wants. You cannot. Every move you make is expected. At 6 p.m., a new list lands on your desk. The first page is an expansion plan. The second is a set of names that need to be removed. Then there is video pulled from the surveillance network. In the footage, a tall, skinny kid stands outside a warehouse wearing cheap sneakers, clutching a burner phone, sweat running down his forehead. He's staring at a car that has been parked too long at the end of the block. In his eyes is something you lost a long time ago: unease. You watch the footage without speaking. Everyone in the room waits for your decision. You know that tonight will be his first time sending the warning, his first time taking the cash, his first time telling himself it is only temporary. You also know exactly how the system will teach him, reward him, swallow him, and lift him level by level until he forgets his original name too.